Hello everyone. Have you ever tried playing a YouTube video and it keeps buffering and buffering? Have you ever tried to stream something online? It seems you have poor internet connection and you're not making any headway. Seems you're stuck and there is no solution.
Have you ever felt like your marriage is stuck in the past and things are not progressing? Going through the motions of life with your significant other. Well, you might be dealing with something that we would love to talk about today, and we call it the lag mentality. And if this is left unchecked in your relationship, this can cause significant harm. It can drain out the life from your relationship. Now, if you're new on our channel, I want to bid you a warm welcome. This is Relationship Builders Forum, and this is a place where we talk about love, about relationship. Whether you're single or married, I know that there is definitely something you can benefit from. My name is Amara.
And my name is Gospel. Today we are talking about lack mentality in your marriage. It's where your marriage is stuck. You feel stuck in your marriage. You're not making progress. It's as if your marriage is in a default mode and things are not really working. You might be dealing with something that is pulling you or dragging you from progressing in your marriage. It's like carrying a load in your back and you're having a race. That load is going to pull you back. And that's what lack mentality is about.
I just want to throw more light on what you've said. I think it's also a state of complacency in a relationship where people are just used to the way things have always been and they don't want to see change, they don't want to move. It's also a mindset, I'd say, a mindset of delay where people are comfortable being stuck with the way we're doing things. I always hear this phrase, if it's not broken, why do you want to fix it, right? And some people actually bring this into their relationship. And it is so easy for anybody or even a couple to get stuck in old habits. So this is how we've always done things, or perhaps there are unresolved issues. All of these are signs of you having a lag mentality in your relationship, a state where you are reluctant about your relationship evolving, right?
It could also be that you expect the relationship to progress without putting in the effort, without doing anything. So it's a mindset of default mode. You want things to work out the way they've always worked out without putting in the effort. That's what we mean by lack mentality.
And I know that this significantly impacts negatively on any relationship, right? You cannot keep putting your relationship on default mode and expecting things to pan out. Every single person in a relationship, we owe it to ourselves to take significant responsibility of how we see our relationship evolve or what we want to see our relationship in differently. And it's really important that we take this seriously.
Definitely, because it's like planting apple and expecting to harvest orange. Nothing just happens.
Absolutely.
It is what you put into the relationship that makes it what it is. For instance, when you see people enjoy their marriage, when you see them glow, successful, excited, it doesn't just happen by chance. Someone is doing something about it. But if you have that mentality, you just relax. You expect that the other person is going to do it, it's going to make it work. No, you have to take responsibility. And when you are in that, sometimes people don't even know that they are dealing with mentality.
And that was my next question to you. Like, what are the signs? How would people recognize that they are dealing with that? It's really important for us to identify the signs of one having a lag mentality, or a marriage that's got a lag mentality, or suffering from a lag mentality. Because it's really important that we address those.
Thank you for that question. I actually wanted to mention one of those signs, which is holding on to past hurts. Holding on to past hurt. Obviously, in a marriage, even in a normal relationship, even with your siblings or with colleagues, there are definitely times when there will be conflict, people could hurt you. And I know from experience that when you're very close to someone, that person is more likely to hurt you. The propensity of that person doing things that would upset you, that would make you feel hurt, is there. And when that happens, you must learn. There are things you must do to move on. So if you have a lag mentality, what that means is after 5 years, you're still bringing up what happened 5 years ago. You did this to me, you did that to me. You keep holding on to that past hurt. That's a sign of
constantly revisiting old arguments, and rather than walking away from it towards healing, rather than moving forward, it's about, oh, you did this to me, like say 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And some of you might be listening to this and wondering, does that really happen? People sometimes do hold a grudge, and they hold a grudge for too long in a relationship. And I think another sign of a relationship having a lag mentality is when individuals in that relationship resist growth, they resist change. Whether one person or both persons, they're sort of reluctant about adapting to a situation, relearning, like, this is how I've always been. I didn't get married to you and I don't expect myself to change, right? Just because I'm married to you. So you hear such kind of comments and you're wondering, you are in a different kind of relationship. You used to be single and you had a relationship with yourself, but now you have come into a relationship with somebody else. I'm not saying that everything that your partner says is absolutely correct, but you have to meet each other halfway. You have to be willing to give. Something has to give in that relationship. So you might come into that relationship with some habits, and maybe perhaps those habits are not useful, they're not helpful. And it might be a call to action for you to sort of say, you know what, I need to drop some of these old habits. I need to take on new ones. I need to embrace the new and leave the old. But some people are unwilling, so they resist growth, they resist change. With every muscle in their body, they say, no, I don't want to change because this is how I've always been. So I wouldn't change just because I'm married to you. And you hear such kind of comments.
The other point I wanted to say is that sometimes people in their heart think that they want to change, they want to improve, but they are not putting in the work. Sometimes people think what they are doing is right, so there is no need for change. Such people have what we call fixed mindsets. You want things to be done in a certain way. You want marriage to be applied in a certain way. And if it's not the way your parents did it, the way you learned to do it over the years, it's not going to work for you.
Absolutely.
But life is evolving. People change is constant. And what happens in our marriage is what we bring to it.
Absolutely.
Who you are is who you become, or what your marriage becomes. So if you want a progressive marriage, you want something to keep working, then you have to work on yourself. Because once you improve the quality of your life, then the quality of your relationship is going to improve. So look at your life retrospectively and look at areas that you need to improve.
So true.
So once you don't have that mindset of thinking of growth, thinking of development, thinking of elevating your relationship to the next level, then you have a mentality. The next sign that you might be dealing with mentality in your marriage is that you put off important conversations. You delay important conversations. You don't want to engage in those conversations. For instance, you don't talk about your vision as a family or as a couple to think about your goals, your financial goals, your relationship goals, even your parenting goals. What are the markers or the milestones you want to achieve in the family or in your marriage? Not just about what you want to achieve. Sometimes it's about conflict, issues that have happened in the past that you need to address, but you fly from them. We have two areas that fight or flight. So sometimes you take a flight. You don't want to talk about them. And your other partner is looking for opportunity to have this conversation, but you don't want to engage in them.
Just sort of thinking about what you're saying now, it takes a lot of competence to have conversations. Some people feel they don't want to have such conversations, so they delay important conversations just because they think they're not competent enough to do it.
I don't really think.
Sometimes some people don't want to expose incompetence.
But look at it this way: you're married to this person. You guys are together. So even if you're not competent, bring in your incompetence so that your spouse can actually help you or work on how you can improve yourself. But communication is critical to any relationship for it to be successful. So sometimes I would talk as men. Sometimes we are thinking things in our head. We know what we want to do. We know the plan we have for our family. But we are not carrying our wives along. You're not sharing with them.
True.
and they want to know what's going on. You're the head of this family. What are we doing? This is a new year, for instance. What are we doing? And you're just thinking, well, I know in your head. So you delay that conversation. That could be a sign. What do
Yeah,
you
but
think?
perhaps someone might feel they're not capable or they're not confident enough to have those conversations. But again, this is where you identify your area of growth. You need some support where you might need help. And like you said, verbalizing it, having that conversation to say, you know what? One of the reasons why I might be shying away from this is because I feel I'm not competent. I know some couples who sometimes when they sit to have a conversation, the wife could say, you know, honey, I don't want to talk about it because that's your area.
Yeah.
And sometimes they feel because it's someone's area, they don't feel the need to learn about it.
Yeah.
But part of those conversations is not because somebody is not well suited for it, but it's to ensure that you have unified goals, you have a
Exactly.
unified purpose, you have a unified vision as a family. And it's really important you understand where that's coming from. Having conversations like that would really help your marriage. But if you find that you're kind of having those conversations, then perhaps you would need to rethink.
Yeah. Just listening to you share your view on this, I also think sometimes people resist having such conversations because they've tried it in the past. Maybe they were shut down, they were not given the opportunity to air their voice, they were not empowered to share.
True.
So when, for instance, as a woman, you've tried to bring your husband where you guys could have this intimate conversation around the family, and the man is not giving you that opportunity. He feels he knows it all, he's got it all figured out. Your role as a woman is just to tag along.
Yeah.
It doesn't allow that open conversation like we are saying. So
Yeah.
when a man brings up such topics, well, you think I've shared my
Yeah.
views in the past.
Yeah.
You didn't do anything with it. So what's the point of me coming again to share with you? I think
true.
if we look at it from a marriage standpoint, that marriage is really struggling with this lag mentality, which needs to be addressed.
Absolutely, it needs to be addressed. And another sign actually put forward there is taking your spouse for granted. Whenever you come to a point where he's always there, come on, man, my husband is always there, isn't it? Are you not always there for me?
I'm always there.
You're always there.
But you're not
taking him for granted, right? But you understand what I mean? Because there are times I've actually thought like that. He'll always be there, right? And we get to the point where I don't know how to say it without actually saying it. We say it as Nigerians, like we say English.
Yeah.
It's literally, you know, my husband is always there. Oh, my wife is always there. She would always do that. She always take care of that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of from making an effort.
Yeah.
Really,
I think
making up some. You say
yeah,
something.
I think this aligns with what we call hedonic adaptation, where what level is commonized.
Wow.
So you think she's always there. Because she's always there, you unconsciously take her for granted. It is more of a human nature, which is why we need to be intentional. Because you have a car, because the car has always been there, you take that car as common. But before you got that car, you were so excited to get it.
Oh, yeah.
And the first week of having that car, it was like, wow, this is the best car. This is one of the reasons sometimes people move from one relationship to another, because you think, I've been with this woman over and over, I need a fresh something that was exactly.
Yeah.
You see, you can also create that excitement within the marriage, which is why we're talking about alignment. So if you've always seen your spouse as she's always there, there's nothing exciting about her or about him, deal with it.
Yeah.
You have to do something about it because lag mentality.
Yeah. Perhaps this kind of leads into the other thing.
Point.
Because I know there's so many signs of lag mentality, but we just kind of on some key areas. And perhaps maybe you're watching this and there are things that sort of your mind. Please just leave us a comment on the comment section. We will also want to learn and read from you as well. And perhaps the next point ties into what we're just talking about. The state of stagnancy in your relationship, in your intimacy, in your romance. You know, there's a state of stagnancy where you're not making any efforts to sort of ignite, or you lead to surprises, those little notes that you leave, you know, places where you used to leave them when you first got married, those exciting things. You leave a note for your husband in his laptop, for instance. You leave a sticky note because you know when he gets to work, he's going to open the laptop and he's going to see a note from you. And those little things. And I kind of, it stems from what we were talking about before, where you're taking each other for granted. So you feel he's always there anyways. I
Yeah.
don't need to make an effort to sort of my relationship or keep the romance burning.
Yeah.
Or the intimacy on fire.
Very important point you've made, because when we fall into the default mode of routines, things as usual, the
Life.
status quo, and life becomes so it's buzzing.
Yeah.
Life in, they will
Yes,
say,
life is-
your workload, parenting, several things come into the equation that you don't take time to create opportunity for that spark, that feeling, that way you felt you guys were going out. Exactly.
And you fell in love.
Exactly. Like
the
I fell
world
in
to
love
stop.
with you.
You're still in love, are you not?
When I say I fell in love,
Oh, yes.
I'm still in love and I'm loving you. Even
Yep.
after marriage, I'm loving you. So that
Just
mindset is what drives up that,
True.
which is a lack mentality. So
Yeah.
if you've seen your relationship at that stage, it's time to do something about it.
So true.
It's time to do something about it. And one of the things you can do, which is solution to these signs that we've mentioned, is you have to go back to rethinking your mind.
Yeah.
You have to adapt what we call growth mindset. Everyone, no matter your level, no matter your accomplishment, no matter how long you've been married, there's always opportunity for growth.
To grow.
Opportunity to learn, opportunity to unlearn and relearn.
Absolutely.
And that's even for us who are sharing this with you,
Yeah.
we are still in that process of learning, learning, because we want to have the best of marriage.
Absolutely.
The gospel now is not the gospel 10 years ago.
Yeah.
There are things that my wife needs to prove in order to meet the gospel now. The same applies to her.
Yeah.
She's not the woman I married 15 years ago or 16 years ago, as the case may be. She has evolved. So I need to keep learning about her, learning what excites her, learning what makes her feel loved. That's what marriage is about.
So true.
Yeah.
You de-emphasize the importance of gathering with other couples when it's just the couples come together, and that's something we do frequently. We always have couples that we go out with, we share some time together, and we talk about pertinent issues, really. Or sometimes they might not even be pertinent, they might just be having to hear their perspective on a specific area. For instance, it could be finances, it could be juggling, basically, or parenting. It could be anything. You can always read a book. Personally, I love to read because there's quite a lot to learn from reading books, attending seminars. Some people say, oh, we're already married. Marriage is not the same. People learn. Every marriage is different. But there is always a fresh perspective that you get when you go to such gatherings. And you can sort of give you an opportunity, sort of mindset and some things that you've been thinking about for many years. I love those meetings. I always come back, having learned something different, I'm willing to apply in my own relationship. And perhaps I'm just here sort of all to go out there and learn something different, something that would enrich your relationship.
I can also look at our previous videos because we've actually discussed varied issues of marriage and relationship. It might be worthwhile looking at those old videos. They will help you.
They will definitely help you. Now, the other thing that we felt is really important, and it's just drawing from what we're talking about, the signs, is people hold on to the baggage or hold on to the hurts because they don't want to let go, forgive and forget. This is a big debate because some people say, I can forgive, but I cannot forget. And always this whole conversation. So I remember having a conversation with a couple, and she was so vehement and saying, I can forgive my husband for what he's done, but I cannot forget what he's done. And of course, as humans, we might not be able to forget. But the question is, when you remember it, how do you feel about it? I think that's the key point here. So do not hold on to that hurt, because you could be damaging yourself by holding on to that hurt. Because I think that forgiveness, in fact, not that I think, I know that forgiveness is essential for your marriage to thrive. You have to let go of past hurt. As long as you guys are in each other's spaces, you would always step on each other's toes. It will be a time that it will be my turn or his turn, but the question is,
how do you deal with it?
How do we do it, and why are we in this relationship together? Not to be offended by the little things that come up in life, because those things will always come up. But it's by making sure that no matter what comes up out there, we're good.
Definitely.
We've got each other's back, isn't it?
Definitely.
So we forgive, we forget, because look, he is my number one cheerleader in this life. So I have to make sure that you let go of
And-
whatever.
And love is about forgiving.
Yes.
Love does not keep record of wrong. So even when you've been wronged, find it in your heart to forgive.
To forgive, yeah.
Because forgiving is part of loving. And when you forgive, you feel happy, you feel better.
So true.
Think about making progress in your marriage. Forgiving is part of the process of being progressive in your marriage. And I also want to say that you can't have an effective marriage without effective communication. Communication is the lifeblood or the core of any relationship, including your marriage. You must have the opportunity to share, to talk about your vision, talk about your goals, talk about everything, talk about your challenges, how you, even your emotions, even when you're not happy. If there's anyone you need to share with, is your spouse. Talk about everything. And when you start keeping secrets, when you start hiding things from each other, then you're creating room for growing apart, I would say. So please be open-minded, look at those critical issues that you need to discuss and engage in them.
No, yes. And next thing I want to say, kind of into what you were talking about communication. If you have to spending time with your spouse, you have to be present, engaged. I think in the world where there is so many distractions out there, I mean, be in the same room, in fact, on the same bed, and you both are on different devices, different worlds. You're having a conversation, but you're fiddling with your phone. You have to be present and engaged. You have to be able to say, you know what, I would, phones day or something like that. I don't know if couples have it these days, but I think it's really important. If you must have meaningful conversation, just set aside, put away the devices and just focus on that person. Look into that person's eyes and have conversations with them. Because that's why we're human beings, right? We're relational beings. We're not supposed to be relating with our devices. It's about setting out time and actually thoughtfully expressing your gratitude for that person being in your life, because this can go a long way. You know, get used to people and we don't fully engage them, right? We can grow apart.
Yeah,
so it's really important that you ask yourself, how am I engaging my spouse, right? Am I going out there and working so hard that when I come back, all I've got is leftovers? Because it's really important. What is the quality of my engagement? And if I'm to receive that same quality from him, would I be pleased? Because it's really important.
Yeah, by saying what quality of your life do you bring to your spouse on a basis?
Yes,
Some people bring the leftovers when you're tired and out and you're not even engaging in quality conversation, quality time with your spouse. So it's critical what you've said. Be present, be engaged. And engagement is not just about talking, it's about understanding what's going on in their life. Be sensitive to know areas that you need to be of support to them, where you need to encourage them. They might be dealing with things you're not aware of because you're not engaged, you're not clued on. So please, this is part of dealing with life. And the last thing we want to talk about is investing in your intimacy and your romance. As we have, this is February and February month of love, and people are really talking about Valentine's Day. It might be an opportunity for you to surprise your spouse, take him or her out, create time for you to engage in that heart-to-heart conversation. Something that sparks your love life, for each other. Because love is a feeling, even though it's primarily commitment, but we feel love. Do something that will make your spouse feel loved. Distort the status quo. And something fresh and different.
Absolutely. I like what you said there. It's something fresh and different. You need them to know that they are the priority. Of course, we know we have God, but your spouse,
the most important person in
your life, they are the priority.
Like
treat
you are
them,
the most important person in my life.
Yes, the same you are as well. But
Thank you.
Treat them with respect. Just do something to surprise them. Like you said, this is February. And perhaps this is an opportunity for you to reinvent that relationship. Marriage is not meant to be stagnant. It's not meant to just be like, journey and all that. It should be full of love. It should be vibrant. And it's really important that you don't feel like, did I make a bad decision by being with this person? So I'll just say, let go of that lag mentality. You can go of that thing that is stopping you from taking action and begin to take action today, because your marriage can flourish if you're willing to grow. Your marriage can flourish if you're willing to unlearn, relearn, and learn.
Maybe you're not the one with lag mentality. You're doing your best to reinvent your marriage to make it beautiful, fun, and exciting, but your spouse is not really putting in the work, not making the effort, and you're struggling, you're really stuck because you don't know what to do. Maybe it's time to reach out and look out for support out there. You might read books, you might actually seek someone to counsel you and give you a fresh perspective. We are happy to help. We are here to help. If you need any support from us, you can always contact us.
Yeah, perhaps you guys could watch this video together, because this could be one way you can discuss some of the things that have been said as it relates to you specifically and your marriage. Because this is one way, like you said, we can learn. We talk about resources. This is a great resource that you can actually have. And I hope you found this useful. And perhaps you know someone else or another person in a different relationship that suffers from this not suffers. I don't like that word, suffers. Okay, you know someone who's got a lag mentality, or who kind of with some of the things that were mentioned in this video. Please do share this video with them. And as I said before, if you find something quite different that we haven't quite mentioned, because we cannot cover everything, leave us a comment, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, and if you forgot to subscribe, please do. It's been an amazing conversation.
Yes, it's been an
and I
amazing
hope you
conversation.
found it useful. And until the next time, it's goodbye. From us.